This is Reverend Dr. Michael Vanderpool, and today I'm going to speak a little bit about astrology and the intuitive astrology work that I've done and that not only done for others but also have used in my own life over the past years. And you can also find me at the moment at www.omsh.net or universalstar.gs. And I'm going to start by talking a little bit about how one of my greatest first predictive works was actually published. It was what I call a public prediction in a work called A Storm Warning for Israel, Spring-Summer 2007. It was published March 18, 2007 to my eBay OMSH Books and Services store in ebook format, and basically summarized in one or two paragraphs, which basically at the time gave the prediction that there wouldn't be any kind of a big double turbulence for Israel in that period, which was the immediate period I was looking at around March 29th. But I did see what we call in Magi astrology a grand cross in the government of Israel chart at the time. And what had actually happened is that there was a large meeting of the heads of the Arab states, and basically Israel was given the ultimatum: give up some land or face war. And so I had basically written that I didn't see much there at that time. It was just a one-day Grand Cross kind of thing. And so then later in that summer, and looking ahead using the Magi astrology, I was able to see that there was a very big turbulence for the government of Israel in the government of Israeli chart. And to me, these double, triple, quadruple Grand Crosses basically signified a coming storm, a time of double turbulence, if you will. And I basically summed this up by saying, look for signatories, August 1st, 2007, and basically that's more or less what happened. There was a large conflict there at the time. So, a war between Israel and Lebanon. So what happened is that it basically ended in signatories August 1st, 2007. And I don't have that full work available on the internet now. It wasn't written in a way that I would have wanted to, if I had the chance to rewrite it. It was my first work, and I was actually quite amazed that it was so accurate. It was down to the day accurate, and I think there's very few men in history using astrology or intuition that have probably accomplished a feat like that. So, never leave Skype on when you're making a video. Rule number one. In any case, that was my first public prediction. It was extremely accurate. And I actually had customers from Israel at the time of that publication, that it was up on my OMSH Books and Services eBay store. And it was in an ad for that ebook at the time on eBay and on my website, omsh.net. So, and I have to give some credit to my ex-wife at the time who was with me. She was a great help in the technical aspects and support in putting that together. She's now a U.S. Army Airborne Special Forces member, and quite an extraordinary woman in her own right. So, a true story. I had written the book while I was in Panama, and it was my first down-to-the-day accurate prediction in public. Since then, at the time of this video recording here today, on July 25th, 2011, I'm currently in Tbilisi, the Republic of Georgia. approximately April 18th, 2011, I had written an astrological heads-up, an analysis for May and June 2011. I later had put that up on YouTube. It's still there in YouTube in audio format, and that basically was a second public prediction, an astrological heads-up and analysis for the very highly turbulent time that was in the first and second week of May, and also mid-June. And I had basically there talked about the tensions that were probable between East and West, BRIC countries in the West, and probably would involve or could involve the United Nations, specifically May 5th. And I stated I didn't know exactly where or, that could involve, but that it would involve the United Nations. And May 5th, basically the United Nations met. Hillary Clinton, U.S. Secretary of State, and NATO had more or less indicated the desire, or at least it was publicized in some news, that they wanted to do a ground invasion into Libya. And of course, BRIC countries, particularly Russia, was not in favor of this, and it had to do with the UN Security Council resolution and so on and so forth that had been previously passed. But all I was looking at was stars, mainly, and some limited news. And basically was able to predict, once again, in public, down to the day accurate, using astrology and intuition, a major event. And thankfully, I think that particular situation was minimized by our world leaders that were involved in the situation. That would include the President of Russia, that would include Obama. They both met, I believe it was during that May and June period, and I had the sense and feeling that the situation, at least for the time being, was minimized in its potential turbulence. It was a highly stressful time. It certainly was a highly stressful time here in my current location, Tbilisi, the Republic of Georgia, where I'm currently making this video. And it was that I had given a private prediction and caution, astrological heads-up, if you will, to a close friend here, a Georgian friend, looking at her astrology chart, a little bit of my own, and also her daughter's. Was able to see that specifically warned her a few months in advance that the period from May 23rd until about June 15th, and of course the public astrological heads-up was for after that. It was the mid-June period, 15th through 19th to be specific. But for her, I had months in advance gave a private prediction that we would have to be extra cautious during that period, and that if we could make it through that period of May 23rd through mid-June, that I think we would have a much better summer, things would go well, but we really had to be careful and cautious. And basically what happened here was that there was a major protest between people in the streets and police. It was well publicized in Russia Today News, RT News, and a few other news outlets around the world, certainly the local Georgian various newspapers and television news. So it was a rally that began here, I believe it was on the 21st of May, and I think the actual conflict, if you will, between the protesters and police was something around May 25th. I'm not looking at that. That's not really important for me right now to go back over all that. But the point is that then this was a very turbulent time. A lot of people were very, very stressful time. I won't go over the details right now, but my friend had her son's best friend, who was a close friend of hers, very close to the family. He was beaten. He had been struck in the head. It was on video on YouTube. A lot of people had that experience here during that time. And so for her, it turned out to be a very stressful time. There was a U.S. Embassy Tbilisi, Georgia website, news of the U.S. naval bands playing music in various cities here in Georgia, but yet in another part of what some consider to be Georgia, some consider to be what used to be Georgia, is now occupied by Russian peacekeepers. A Georgian had posted on my Facebook that the Russian troop level at that time was at an all-time high, was at a maximum level. At the same time, the U.S. Embassy news website said there was a warship, U.S. warship doing naval exercises, or war exercises, if you will, in the Black Sea, which is just less than about a 4-hour or so drive from where I'm at making this video and where I was at the time. So that was reported to be going on around mid-June, and exactly, if I remember correctly, something like 3 days after I went on June 6th to my friend and said, hey, this to me is a very tense time, I can feel it, but you know, we've talked about this time using the stars, using astrology, and we've known about it. I think we'll get through it, but just in case, you know, we need to be extra cautious, extra aware, and extra careful. And so I'm happy to say that on this date of July 25th, 2011, we are through that period, and hopefully we will continue to see and enjoy a nice summer. So these are just a couple of public predictions and paralleled with a private prediction that I gave that have been extremely down to the day accurate, and in terms of an astrological analysis have been extremely accurate overall. And I don't like to give public predictions, having done it now twice in the situations that I've done it in, and that would be issues of war. I don't really like it. I would rather do more positive things with that kind of intuition and with that kind of astrological insight. And I'm going to make another video here immediately after this that's going to talk more about private predictions and the ways that I've used it, practically speaking, to better my life and the life of clients and family and friends that have consulted and confided with me on their astrology and the astrology that I've been able to see in looking ahead. So, in closing on this particular note, I'll state that I have publicly predicted, down to the day accurate, twice now, major events, and we can call them political events, in that the May 5th analysis, the UN did meet in Rome, or at least 22 nations and other governmental organizations met there on the question and issue of Libya. And it's exactly what I had published to my Facebook in text. I think again it was around April 18th, and again in audio to YouTube as I read that text and put it into an audio format on a YouTube video, YouTube published video. And previously again in 2007, I'm sure that you know, eBay knows about that, and I have to be thankful for them for providing the services and the format to you know, having successfully sold books largely as a power seller since September 29, 2005, and actually started that eBay account here in Tbilisi, Georgia when I was here in 2005, September 2005. So in any case, those are just two of the public predictions that I have accurately given. I also have to give thanks and credit to the Magi Society for providing the software and the excellent information and teachings and the astrology that they share with the world to their websites and books. And it's an amazing thing, but those are just two examples. And now I'll close this out and I'll go into some personal examples of private predictions and using astrology and intuition that has helped immensely in my life and the lives of clients and those close to me. So again, it's a pleasure to share this with you, and I think it's important to point these things out because for me, astrology is not just only an interest it's sometimes a matter of life or death. So, enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you're seeing this on Facebook, be sure to check out my YouTube channel at Tiger7170. That's my username and YouTube channel. Or Universal Star GS. Thanks for watching.